Welcome back to Into the Chatterverse, where two gents share their 2 cents on pop media. I am Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics.
And I'm Bill. I'm glad I don't have to wear any prosthetics.
Man, you know what? Don't knock on wood. First of all, like let's make sure that we actually don't have to wear prosthetics. But for the sake of art and craft and the show that we're about to talk about, you are 1,000,000% right. What was the actual makeup time for Colin Farrell in The Penguin?
I don't know the exact time, but I
Yeah.
heard that his day started like at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah. What would they have to pay you? You're the star of this show, right? Like this is a nice little piece on your resume.
Yeah.
But they tell you that you've got to be on set 2:30 in the morning just for makeup. What is your price tag?
Well, he's an executive producer.
Oh, so he got the back. Yeah, but it's not a movie though where you get like box office points. What do you get for executive producing?
I don't know what the executive producers
Okay.
make,
All right.
but they make something because
Well,
their
they
name's
gotta-
on there.
They gotta.
Yeah.
All right. You would definitely require executive producer for that level of input.
Well, at least a producer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. On
But
top
also,
of-
if I'm Colin Farrell,
you
I
gonna
could also get created by. By the way, what are the three worst words in The Penguin?
3 worst word.
Uh-huh.
Everything that he said with the hardest Jersey accent ever.
No.
What were you? What words do you think were the 3 worst?
With Bill Finger.
Did it say that?
Yeah.
We've had this conversation.
Well, you know what? The best part about this was
Yeah.
that I was able to rant to the person that.
Yes, you were.
And I think, to be honest with you, I
Yeah.
think it was the second time I've done that.
Was it really?
But I don't think it was a rant the last time I did it because it was what was it, like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, that really bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, no, it's
It's a come up.
it's it was a good thing. And I'm if she thinks it's a win,
Sure.
but no.
No.
No,
It should not be with.
it drives me up the wall.
Yeah. No. This should be co-stated just like Siegel and Schuster. Like that's like truthfully, it should be finger first. Let's just be honest. That's what I said.
That sounds so bad.
No, it doesn't. Not in context. If you know what we're talking about, and you should, because you tuned in, you know what it is. Okay, so we are going to talk about the Penguin series, but real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to Motor City Comic Con, who had me as one of their moderators this past weekend, and I had an absolute blast. But I got to work with somebody very, very special. I've not seen them on the show circuit before, but I guess she has done it at least once before. Priscilla Presley. And like immediately when I got the assignment, I'm like, ooh, Naked Gun. I can't wait to talk about that. Totally skipped my mind for like 2 hot seconds that one, she was married to Elvis and was Michael Jackson's mother-in-law. Like had not like immediately I went Naked Gun, got super excited. I was like, no, that's the bare minimum of what we're going to talk
Exactly.
about. Like, wait a minute. But she was very, very sweet, very funny. Whether she meant to be or not, but
Yeah.
she was very funny and had a good time. So big shout out to Motor City Comic Con for inviting me out, and definitely look forward to returning. I won't be back in the spring, sorry y'all, but hopefully next fall I'll definitely be there.
They do two shows?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one in May and then one in November. The May one is their big one, and they have a lot of fun. You can feel the energy. I guess they did 2 way back in the day. Didn't necessarily work as well, but they brought it back and it's worked out really, really well. So
Good for them.
Yeah, big shout
Was
out.
Jim
Big shout
O'Barr
out.
there?
He was not.
Oh,
I actually haven't seen him. I haven't seen Jim in a minute. Like, it's been a second since
I
I've
mean,
seen
he's
him.
from the Detroit area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if he still lives there.
Well,
Maybe
but
he
he's
doesn't.
from the area.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, they pulled that. Like
Yeah.
Rob Paulson, like he's from the area that he was there. But no, I haven't seen Jim for a while. Maybe he's just busy with
Sure.
the Crow remix
Sure.
and such.
Why not?
Okay, speaking of other bird things, the Penguin. This was a great series. Like if it just stood on its own, like literally without the references to the Batman that literally were not in the Penguin that I have a problem with, but if it just was a show about the Penguin, I think this is one of the best shows in television history. Am I overreaching?
I don't know. Top what?
Top 10. Top 10 for me.
I'd definitely give it top 20
Okay.
because it just seems almost Sopranos 2.0.
Okay, you know what? I will give you that. Especially in context of Sopranos,
Yeah.
it does take a step back because there is a lack of originality in shadow of the
Yeah,
Sopranos. I'll
yeah.
give you that. But yeah, like it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like great characterizations across the board. Did you have a favorite character?
Well, I mean, it's hard to like people that are just awful.
I mean, but you kind of do a little. But no, you're right.
I don't know that I had a favorite character. Gotham. How's that?
I mean, for sure, Gotham. I'm not gonna lie, I loved his mom. Like,
No, she was like, and going back to being Sopranos 2.0, it had that feel to
that's
it.
super like.
Except she had every reason to be the way she was.
Oh my god, that last episode, the reveals of that one,
Yeah.
I appreciated a lot. Like it everything was very well rounded, and I got to give a shout out to the writing team for this one. They crafted great stories,
Yeah.
and that's not necessarily the easiest thing to do in today's, we'll say movie watching parlance, because it's not directly based on something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Game of Thrones had, series and stuff that they could pull from, histories or whatever. This was kind of an original take that I don't know has any specific direct comic book reference to pull from and go, oh, they're telling this part of the story, or they're doing that one. And that was very, very cool. I definitely appreciated that.
I mean, it wasn't until I finished the 5th episode that I realized that they changed his name.
Really?
Yeah, I just never. It never dawned on me. I
Yeah.
just thought they were just saying Cobb as a nickname.
Yeah.
And like, no, they dropped the Cobblepot altogether.
Yep.
I think the scene that I liked the most was when he was a kid watching the Gene Kelly movie.
Yes.
And I was like,
Dude, that was so dark.
I was like,
Yeah.
that. And as a kid, he was straight up evil.
I mean, I for what he did, I agree. But like the mindset of it, I feel like there was almost an understandable rivalry, because like he was the middle child, right? Like he wasn't the oldest, he wasn't a baby. And so there's that whole, standard of the middle child gets overlooked, but then he's disabled and everyone else just operates as they want to. And there are times when he can't, and maybe they pay attention to it, maybe they don't. And for him to feel a certain kind of way about it, I loved the portrayal of that.
Yeah, I think he created that in his mind, though, because his mom was paying attention to him. Maybe not the way he wanted to,
Right.
like right off the bat, but even, like, oh, they're at the movies. Oh, well.
We'll just watch a movie.
Yeah, we'll watch. Yeah.
That's fine. Oof. There were moments where, I'm not going to lie, I was like, their relationship is really making me uncomfortable.
I mean, I get that as well.
I'm like, if she breastfeeds him right now, ugh, I can see it, but ugh, it was creepy. So as a portrayal of the Penguin, right? We could say that there have been 3 live action versions of the Penguin plus animated features. How does this one rate for you in terms of a portrayal of the Penguin as a Batman's Rogues Gallery member?
Well, I mean, he's definitely a gangster.
Yeah.
And willing to do anything to get what he wants. I mean, he's evil.
Yeah.
It doesn't compare to other versions of the
It's
Penguin.
totally different.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, I like it.
Yeah.
It's just like I like Jared Leto's version of the Joker
I do too.
because it's just different.
It's his.
Yeah.
Like it's not about comparing it to other
Yeah.
things. That is very fair. In other media, I don't think that we've ever really seen him as the gangster like this. The closest would be the animated series,
Yeah, probably.
but even that wasn't this. Like he was already on top of something in the animated series, and this just kind of shows him like digging it up from the mud. And there's a different respect that I have for what he's become because of that. And I think that's an interesting thing. I know that played into why they took off the Cobblepot part of his name, because they didn't want it to sound like he was upper crust at all. And that's why it's Cobb, because they wanted it to be a little bit more down to earth.
Well, I mean, it could also work the other way as well. If he came from something, but
Due to his disability, he was...
or his mom making poor choices, that kind of stuff.
Or he was just evil.
Well, there's that.
He was evil. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You binged the last couple of episodes.
Last 3, yeah.
That's not bad though. Like
No.
in terms of like, what's the time frame of that? Is that almost 3 hours?
It's right around there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I wonder if that changes like the flow for you, because it came off of what? I'm trying to run back like the last 3. Does Vic kill Squid in 5 or 6? Like, is that how it start? Like at the like, what all did you see in this binge piece? You definitely killed Sal.
Yeah.
The underground spot got blown up.
Yeah. I think Sal's the first kill.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I think I binged all of them. I don't think
Just in chunks.
Well, I watched. I don't think I even watched like the first episode on its own.
Okay.
I think I watched the first 2.
Gotcha.
And then I watched. Yeah, just the way it worked out, because it was one of those things where you. And this is not to say anything about Agatha, but I don't feel like Agatha takes a lot to pay attention to, whereas this does.
This does, yeah.
It's just like you said, that the bat signal was the end of it. I didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
I may have also like not been looking at the screen and just listening to what they were saying.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
Which is fair. For those that haven't heard, like that is my biggest complaint throughout this series. As good as I think it is the lack of presence of Batman being felt. Like I don't want to see him. I don't need to see him, but I want the people to react as though they know that Batman is out there, and that could be an issue. And like in the last episode, we actually see that, spoilers, after he kills Vic. And again, it's not even necessarily like Batman oriented that he does this, but he takes the time to look around and see if there was anyone there. And throughout most of this show, anytime they get into gunfights or anything like that, no one does that. No one looks around and be like, who saw that? Like who, worst case scenario, like it could be a random person on the street that saw it. Now I got to go deal with that person. But worst case, it's Batman. And now that's a bigger issue.
Yeah.
And that was something that, especially coming off of the movie and the amount of interactions that Batman had directly with Penguin, that was a problem for me. Because I'm like, Penguin should be looking over his shoulder almost religiously right now, because you just had a car, chase with him. He comes to the club, he gets, Falcone out, and Falcone gets shot, like right there. It looks like you're about to shoot, and you're like, I didn't shoot. Batman's there. Like, he saw this whole interaction, and so he should be looking at you constantly right now. Like, you're a problem, and I know you're a problem, and I'm going to catch you. Like, I know I'm going to catch you. That was my one major complaint about it.
Wasn't the Batman like year 2?
Yes. And again, like the setup of the Batman movie is that the whole thing is that people don't know, specifically bad guys, don't know where he is.
Yeah.
He could be anywhere in the dark, and that's why it's working, that kind of thing. You brought up an interesting point that I think is necessary in terms of context or critique, how the Batman is just a PG-13 movie.
Yes.
And this show is very much so not that.
Yes.
How, like, do you think it was a mistake for them to ratchet up the rating system for the show? Because they're not going to be able to carry that over into the movie, or at least as I can guess, there's not a plan to.
Well, I don't know that the Penguin would be like a major character. I think the Penguin would be in it.
Okay.
And once again, probably be in like 5 or 6 scenes.
Right.
Just so Colin Farrell has to go through hell.
One day. Now they're going to shoot all his scenes one
yeah,
day. That is
like,
it.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Well, it really works for the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's not going to be a main character, then I guess it's not really a problem. But the problem comes in when, kids are like, the Batman was great. I want to watch the Penguin. Parents are like, yeah, no, maybe not.
Or they said yes right away, and not realizing, they're like, no, you can't watch this. You can't watch this.
Well, you know what? Their first hint that it was going to be the way it was when they switched it from being a Max to an HBO.
Okay.
Because of the prestige that comes along with HBO.
Interesting. I didn't even realize that there was a shift.
Yeah.
Okay, so making it HBO, higher quality, higher caliber,
Yep.
but at the same time, that's a wider range of opportunity for very strong storytelling, because some of the best HBO featured pieces in terms of shows, The Sopranos, Sex and the City, they had very adult content to them.
Yep.
So, all right, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I think that Lanterns is also going to be an HBO.
Really?
Yeah. And the funny thing is that there's no difference.
Right.
It's still the same company. It's still
It's
Warner
in the
Brothers
mind.
doing it.
Yeah.
It's just, they're throwing that prestige of HBO on there.
Yeah. I mean, we see that, when it comes to cereals, right? Like the off-brand of Kellogg is still made by Kellogg.
Yeah.
But it says Kellogg, so that means you're paying a little more, and it's a little bit, it's more special. It's more special. That's an interesting one. This last bit, we got more of a tie back into the Batman series. And one of the things that I'm hearing in terms of rumors is the question of whether or not they're going to explore a Penguin-like show for the Joker that appeared at the end of the Batman. Are you interested in that?
I'm not interested in the Joker at all.
I agree. I think,
But
yes.
I'll watch it. Look at how good the Penguin was.
I mean, yes. I feel like I would have to be convinced to watch it, though. Like, I'll need more word of mouth. And it's not that I don't love the Joker. I'm just tired of the Joker.
Yep.
Like, every time you turn around, it's Joker.
Yeah.
And I'm over it.
Well, it'd be the same thing if, we're going to do a TV show based in the Superman universe, and it's going to be Lex Luthor. And I'd be like,
nah, I'm good.
can't be Brainiac.
Please? That would be so much better. Like, let's go into space. Let's go see some other stuff. Like, that would be that. I think we are going to have to talk about Superman and Lois, though, since you brought that up. Because I'm liking this last season, like, a lot. And I'm definitely curious about your thoughts on that one. You haven't watched any of that, have you?
I watched the first season. I watched, like, the first half of the season.
Okay.
And I liked it.
Yeah.
I just never went back to it.
I got you.
I like the whole dynamic of it, and it's the interesting part. And it was pointed out in San Diego that this is not Superman. This is Clark and Lois raising their kids.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's actually right. That's
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on. Because the dynamic is totally different than if it's just a Superman show.
Yeah.
Even Superman and Lois, it's more than that. It is the family in Smallville having more of a presentation. Like, there's so much I love. I got to work with Bitsy back in Dallas last month, and she is Lois Lane. Like, there's something about what she looks like that I'm like, every version of Lois Lane that has ever existed, from live action to animation, she's like the perfect collaboration of all of it.
I remember when she was first on when they were doing the multiverse stuff on the air.
Supergirl and all that. Yeah.
That she just felt too much like Margot Kidder to me.
I could see it.
And then when the show started, I'm like, I didn't even think that at all.
Yeah. Nah, 1,000,000% I can see it. And what's crazy is I think Margot Kidder is like the aunt of somebody else from the Arrowverse, and Bitsy didn't know that. And so it's like a fun little bring it all together. But that was really cool. So having watched The Penguin, we had certain characters that appeared that we thought were going to be other characters, right? I thought Victor was going to end up being Victor Zsasz. I thought that Julian Rush was going to be revealed as either Hugo Strange, is what you threw out. Yeah. I threw out Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow. And it's not to say that we won't necessarily get some other portrayals of these things. Was there any other characters that by name it kind of stuck out in any sort of way? Like, maybe this could be a person, and whether it ended up being that or not, you thought that they could have been somebody bigger?
Well, I mean, just thought it was weird that Lex Luthor was in it.
You calling Clancy Brown?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, wait, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, and I love Clancy Brown. I don't think there's ever been anything he's been in that I didn't like him in.
Yeah.
I think if anything, I wasn't surprised by the deaths, but I was surprised by the people that didn't die.
Who surprised you the most?
Sophia.
Yeah.
And a close second would be the mom.
Yeah. I definitely thought the mom was going to die.
Yeah, I thought for sure that she'd had, she had a stroke and she's done.
She was out.
No, but she had a stroke, all right.
Yeah. Oh, she definitely did. Do you think that it was mean of Oz to put her by the window, which he said he was going to give her, but she said that she didn't want this vegetative state to be her existence? Was that mean of him to keep her alive and have her in that vegetative state just looking out the window?
Maybe she shouldn't have stabbed him.
I mean,
payback sucks.
It does.
And it was. I don't think the stabbing was what did it. I think it was the words she used and the fact that she knew.
Yeah, this entire time.
Yeah, and it just,
Yeah,
he's twisted.
He is, man. Like it's. I think that's the more interesting part of this whole experiment of this storytelling is. Penguin is not a character that I've ever really put like vicious stock into. I'm like, that's the dude with the umbrellas. Like, whatever. This dude, like, you don't need an umbrella. He will lie in order to destroy you. Mm-hmm. He will absolutely kill you. Like, he has no problems doing that. And he is much more of a physical threat than I have ever considered Penguin. And I loved it.
Well, especially if you're having a heart attack.
Oh my God. He got so mad at him. He was so mad.
But the funny thing is that I'm like, you have to shoot him.
You have to.
Because it can't just be that. Well, he's dead.
He's dead.
Like, no, you have to shoot
him. You gotta put a couple.
But
you didn't have to shoot him that many times. Like, oh my God, like that was personal.
He's nuts.
He is. So, yeah. He is.
I will say this though, the feeling I got at the end when the mom is sitting there, in the state she was in, was more of a Mr. Freeze vibe.
Oh snap! Yes, the she's in sort of suspended animation.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that, and I can totally see that, the thing that probably distracted me from seeing it that way was immediately seeing Eve in her dress. Because as pretty as I thought Eve was, all of a sudden she looked like his mom. And then he started talking to her, and I'm like, that's so creepy.
Well, and that should actually bring you right back to Freeze.
Right back to it, man.
Because, he definitely had a love affair with his mom.
Mr. Freeze did?
No.
Oh.
The Penguin.
Oh, yeah, man, he did.
Yeah, but the whole reason that Mr. Freeze is the way he is to save his wife.
Yes. But his is so much more sympathetic. Like, I love that.
It is, but also, but it's still a love affair.
Oh, he goes to a place. Yeah. He goes to a place. All around though, I would say this is a fantastic show. Even with my gripe about like Batman not showing up, especially after the explosion underground, I really think he should have been there. But this was a great show. Like I really.
Will you be upset if they don't write that into the second movie
of where he was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be pissed. I'm not gonna lie about that. I would be so mad.
I'll get on the phone with Matt Reeves.
Tell him that he better address that.
Yeah.
Not now, but right now. Okay, like it starts off where he's like overseas or something, doing some training. I don't care. It's at the League of Shadows. Something to explain why he wasn't there during all of that. I need it. Having said all that, definitely watch Penguin if you haven't already. But you made it through this far. You should definitely hit the subscribe button. Like this, share this with other people. Tell people about N2 the Chatterverse because we want you guys to join us. Come let us know what your favorite episode or scene from the Penguin was. Do you want to know their favorite characters? I'm curious what other people's favorite characters were, especially if it wasn't Oz.
Favorite characters and favorite scenes.
Yes. Let us know down below. We want to hear from you. Once again, I'm Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics.
And I'm Bill, and I don't think I'd be able to emote that much, even if I had that kind of prosthetics, which was amazing, by the way.
Amazing.
Completely amazing.
His eyes, his mouth, everything. His sneer.
Yes.
Oh, magic. Absolute magic. Let's go back to that. Less CGI, more of that. Sorry. 2:30 in the morning. You just got to deal with it.
Right.